Try to.
Hey,
yes,
it's
Josh
Murder
and
Moose. We do this professionally all the time.
We do this
and don't
professionally
screw up ever.
every
Take two.
every week for 25 weeks. We are. I'm Rod. This is Josh, and yes, we are Murder Moose. We are Murder Moose, part of the Slash and Cast podcast network. So Discord was shitting the bed on us tonight. So we are here,
And now you're
and we've made it
to again. I don't get it. Whatever.
I don't know what the fuck is happening. As long as you could understand me.
Yep.
I think we'll have some kind of episode. I don't know what kind of episode that will be, but it will be an episode. Josh, we've done this 25 times. This is the 25th time. Actually, it's the 26th time.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did a bonus episode. And it's good, man. It's this is a highlight of my week every week. So we've basically been doing this for 6 months, which is pretty fucking dope. But we're here. We're on a cool podcast network with a bunch of cool podcasts.
Hell yeah, dude.
We get to talk and bullshit with buddies. I recorded an episode with Apocalypse and Review from the network over the weekend, and that was a blast. That was a real good time. So man, I'm hyped. And now we are here. I mean, it's when I get to talk to Josh. Josh is a very, very busy bee. He's a very busy man. And me getting a couple hours of his time every week to bullshit about a movie is greatly appreciated. So
at the beginning, I had a little more time, and I know my life. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. And we're here now, and Josh is awesome. So
thank you.
Yes.
Hey, no, wait. You know what? You know who's awesome? This guy I know, and it's his name is Rob. Oh wait, no, I think his name is Rob. Rob? Oh,
Rob
no,
Johnson.
Rod.
Rob Johnson.
Hey, it's Rod, guys.
That guy.
What's new
that
with
guy's
you,
pretty
man?
dope. Nothing, man. Just streaming a lot. I've been playing through the Resident Evil games on my
Still
stream.
fucking
getting
beat
ready.
that? Come on, dude.
I beat Resident Evil 3 tonight. You saw it.
I know. That was awesome.
And so, yes, I'm going to dive into Resident Evil Code Veronica tomorrow night. Nice. But today when this is coming out. So you're busy as hell. You went to the zoo today?
No,
so
I
that
didn't.
Seems like it.
My family did. I worked. And almost got all of the packages up on the site. I just need to do a few how-to sections, and I'm launching, baby.
You're killing it, dude. Killing it. Just don't release on April 1st because no one will believe you, Josh.
Or everyone will believe me because it's taking so fucking long.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. And Josh, we tried to talk about this for about 12 minutes before, but we are diving into one of my favorite movies of all time tonight. A Korean masterpiece. I would say we were talking about this before, and I think I was thinking about it while we were fucking around. I do think that this movie has similar aspects of other things we've talked about, like I Saw the Devil. That this Oldboy has a
definitely I Saw the Devil. I was saying Saw before, but because they're so close in time, I think that James Wan probably didn't make. Well, no, and Saw was made from his short, which was made years before. So never mind on that.
It was made in 2003, but yeah.
There's some similarities.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you were saying, I mean, as we were both talking about before when we started, Oldboy is, if you go and watch that movie and then watch movies in the next, 5 to 10 years, even American movies, because
I'm saying American movies, like big directors have to be influenced by this movie for sure. Like this is an amazing film. Yeah,
it is beautiful. It is grotesque. The elements of this movie, there are harder to watch scenes in this movie than a lot of horror movies because there are
just because of the subject matter and stuff. Like, it goes like story wise and is covering like subject matter that American films don't cover, and it's suppressed like crazy in North America. Like anything to do with like that type of subject matter is just like that's why it's it's.
And I feel like that makes it even harder for like us Americans or Canadians or Westerners to watch, because it's not a subject matter we're used to watching about, especially
I didn't know it was about that, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're not going to ruin it in this, again, the first part of this episode. So we'll warn you when we're going to spoil stuff. But yeah, there's heavy subject matter in Oldboy, and that means the subject matter is really what ends up being the horror aspect of this movie. There's harder to watch stuff that involves torture throughout this movie, but the real I'm gonna go start vomiting now kind of stuff comes from the subject matter, and the subject matter does what it means to do, and it fucks you up, man.
All right, I'll do the synopsis of Chan-Woo Park's Oldboy, 2003. After being kidnapped and imprisoned for 15 years, what's his name? Dae-Su is released, only to find that he must find his captor in 5 days. You have 5 days.
Yeah, so he's
you
released.
You gotta ask the right questions. It's not, why am I... what was the right question? Was
not who he is, but why.
Yeah, why was I released?
Why was he released? Why was he imprisoned in the first place? They're the kind of questions that kind of deal.
My God,
dive
that
into
is
stuff.
Deep rooted. That is a long fucking time for a fucking essentially a gag.
The movie. So. The characters, you get a lot of flashbacks in this movie, and a lot of the detective work goes back to the high school class of 1979. So, what does he get released in the early 2000s? Is it 2003? Because there are montages of the guy watching TV, and you see stuff like nine.
There was the towers coming down, so it was definitely current to 2003 because that was the year I graduated. And I remember going to going to school, and the day that happened was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. What's going on?
So it basically goes on. He gets captured in the late 80s and gets held to the early 2000s. But man, it is. It's weird because real dark cinema in America, I don't know how much of it truly gets made anymore. You have things I don't know, man. Is Seven the darkest American movie ever made? It's
probably
up there, right? Stuff
almost didn't get distributed because no one understood what David Fincher was trying to make and stuff. And he's like, no, this is now people get it.
Well,
it's a that again, I called Seven a masterpiece because of what he can do with. I don't know. I love just what Fincher does, man. He's been one of my favorite directors. And he's up for again. Anytime he makes a movie, he's gonna be up for best director, best movie. Right? He's just too good now.
You know what surprised me actually when I was watching this. I didn't remember. I don't know why, but I had this memory in my head that this movie was longer than it actually was. It's
only 2 hours.
2 hours. It gets a lot accomplished in 2 hours, right? It is.
I was watching it in front of The Bachelor after show, so my wife was like, "How fucking long is this fucking movie? Hurry
She's
up! I gotta see who's right fucking."
She's like, I need to see who's gonna get fake married now, Josh.
I can't
now.
He picked the racist. Oh my god.
man, these are things that my lady has never gotten super into.
This is
not
new,
really,
and I wish it never happened, but it happened.
Yeah,
wait,
it happened.
Actually, you know what? I don't care that it happened, but it is something.
Yeah.
It's not good TV in my eyes.
No. A lot of people love it, though.
I can see why. They pull you in for sure. And just because I was analyzing it one night and being like, wow, this is They do that on a nightly or like episode to episode basis. She's like, it's hooked you in, hasn't it? I was like, no, I'm sorry.
The Bachelor has been on so long. I was in like high school, I think, the last time, like when this shit was starting. It's been on for like 25 years, dude. It's
what?
Maybe not 25 years. It's been a long time though.
Man, so okay, have you seen the remake of Oldboy?
No.
Okay, so like I am now very super curious what made the cut and what didn't for the American version, because we're talking about this right now. Like, I don't think the like taboo stuff would make it to the remake, and I think that's probably why people are like, the remake's fucking shit. But it's probably,
I don't know,
because the remake's just fucking shit. But I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I can't see it being a badly
like
directed movie.
I don't understand whitewashing a movie like this. It just doesn't. It does not make sense.
Yeah, because a lot of this, like the subject matter in that movie is very, very Korean, right? Like, and how it's looked at and how it's handled, right?
I don't think it translates over to, especially not to American audiences. Like for that, I don't know. It's still a masterpiece, and I still loved it. But that, like we're saying,
I'm curious, and I watched
this without spoiling it, because that whole piece of information, like I'm even like in the comments section below on IMDb and stuff. You read some like people's comments and it's like, oh, I love it, and then it's like, oh crap, I gotta stop myself because I don't want to spoil, and it's like and then the runaround goes and it's like, but it's really good, watch it.
Okay, we can make this short. Okay, everybody, if you are into movies we like, we're 12 minutes in. We're done not spoiling this, so go watch Oldboy.
It's 2003.
If you have to track it down,
I know it took me a long time to see it, but now I'm ready to spoil it for everyone else that hasn't seen it.
Yeah. So, Josh, this movie's okay. The subject matter is a lot of the movie. Basically, last couple lines before we start spoiling it. It's the movie is very much like a detective story. No, it's very much a detective story and love story at the same time, and down a path of why this man got locked up for 15 years. It's perfect. It's I don't know anything wrong with this movie except that sometimes makes me feel yucky on the inside. But go watch it now.
But that's what it's supposed to do, and then it makes you question so many other things you watched in the movie, but it does it so effortlessly as well. And that's why this is a masterpiece, because it is intertwining like very touchy subject matter with amazing filmmaking, visuals that you don't see coming, that are like just super artistic out of nowhere and like add so much to the movie. And all the characters are so rich and powerful, all of them, that you just, I don't know, like this movie is fantastic. And like his henchman that he has, like the bad guy's henchman, that it just reminded me of like a 007 like number 2 guy that's just like wacky, powerful, and like just has like the meanest face all the time. He was awesome. Mr. Han.
You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of the old Japanese movies, the blind swordsman, Tochi or whatever those movies are called. Because I watched one of those back in the day. I think I have it on DVD somewhere around here. But that's who he kind of gave me that vibe of it. And he's wearing like a ki, that's what they're called, right? A ki, like the karate like workout, whatever.
I love the book ending, or is it a book end? Because it starts off in the room, him looking at the painting of the guy with the like that facial expression, the eternal like it just like grief, like an internal external, like it's like, this is my life, like that's and then it at the very end, the smile he does is the exact, and he does it a few times throughout the movie, that just like emphasizes just how gone he is, and how just like he's don't fuck with him. he is gone past the point of being fucked with anymore.
Yep.
Do not fuck with him.
It's funny because I recorded an episode of Apocalypse in Review, and we talked about The Night Eats the World, which is a French zombie movie, but it's kind of funny because I talked about that on Friday night and now this, and because that movie is really, it's a zombie movie, but it's more really about like what isolation does to people. You know, it's like this dude is isolated because of the zombie apocalypse, and this is like Dae-Su Dae-Su, whatever you say his name. It's like him being locked up for 15 years. It kind of, you know, he's by himself the entire time. Actor. So he's I mean, we talked about him. I saw the devil. Yeah, he was the serial killer, and I saw the devil, which is. Go back to that episode. We love that. The movie's fantastic. And this guy's just a really, really good actor. And it's like,
man,
it's funny because
crazy too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I mean, we talked about it more. Like, there was a lot.
We started with that. So, like, I'm starting to think that, like, the subject matter in Korean films can go darker or, like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, is it just like thrown under the carpet more in North America that this stuff does actually happen and stuff? But like, I don't know. The way they show it in these films just like really gets you in the eyes and the mind of like the dark and the wicked, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can spoil this. Yeah. The movie is, and this is a trigger warning because I'm not going to say that very often, but this movie has very like, I don't know, is trigger warning really? It's not easy subject matter to talk about without like, you know, being like
well, especially you can't now really even that I'm a parent too. Like, I'm just like, oh my fucking God, man.
It's man. So we're gonna spoil the shit out of it now. It goes from twisted with the brother-sister relationship, and then it goes, which is fucked up. But then the whole revelation that this guy has been basically tricked into fucking his own daughter and falling in love with her. You're like,
but like. But just because he was peeping Tom at the wrong time to the wrong incest party, like, and now but like, I don't understand what that place is. Like, where is this like dungeon prison place, and how does he know about it, or did he start it? Like, I need to know these types of information. Like, is this just like a normal thing in Korea to have like prisons that are like
it's very it seemed like it was just a like organized crime had this building set up to
scary,
to do this.
That was so scary, that whole setup. And then like when he finally like after 15 years is like burrowing out and he gets the like last brick and then he feels water and then it like goes out to where it actually is and he's just like in a normal street. Like, that is so scary, dude.
It's a normal street, but of a super, super hectic city, right? So there's so much, and like noise. There's like city life noise, but also he looked like he was up. He wasn't on the first floor. I mean, and you know that from earlier in the movie because of the, not earlier, but later in the movie because when he finds the building again and he gets in with the delivery guy, they're in elevators, so you know that this isn't. They're not on the first or second floor. They're up a ways. Maybe that helps. I mean, you could also soundproof
when he gets the hammer and the first revenge, and just like those things that pop up on the screen, like the little visual aids and stuff. That it's all after the fact, but like you don't see that coming, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, this movie has like a style, an artistic style to it that's like making it comedic as well. Like, like the little. This is gonna go straight to his head. Like, it was awesome.
You start off with the opening scene is like right before he gets like kidnapped and locked up, and it's him in like a police like lobby. It looks like, it's kind of like they're waiting to throw him in the drunk tank, and he's like just making a fool out of himself, and you're like, who is this idiot? And it's got comedic elements to it because it's this guy sitting in this lobby, and then 1 second he's just yelling and being an idiot, and the next second he's like peeing in a corner, and you're like, this dude gives zero fucks because he is that fucking wasted. Because
he was yelling about missing someone or something like that too.
Yeah. Well, you know how fucking sloshed you have to be that you start trying to pee in a corner of a police station? I mean, you are next level. I don't give a flying fuck drunk at that point.
That's like, that's Jersey Shore drunk.
Yeah, that's waking up next to your daughter drunk. No, I mean, no. So this guy obviously he was celebrating with his friend. Did they ever say why he was celebrating? But like, he's getting ready for his daughter's birthday, and it seems like he got arrested for public intoxication, right? This guy's it really comes off as this guy was kind of an asshole, but he never ever deserved the shit that happened to him, right? Because like he's told people about something he saw that he shouldn't have seen, and he got a little drunk in public. But man, does that really mean you should be like locked up for 15 years? I don't know about that, because that's not. This guy didn't commit any crimes, right? But I don't know. It's
well, when you have a super villain that wears like, he looks like a DJ.
Oh yeah,
like
dude, he
was like Bruce Wayne, rich guy that loves to shower and walk around naked in front of all his henchmen for some reason.
Dude, if I had like that guy is. If I had a body that looked as good as that guy at his age, I would be walking around fucking naked as shit.
And then he's got the like tramp stamp like of a cross on his butt too.
Yeah, the cross.
I was like, what the fuck?
Why does this guy have a cross tattooed on him when like I don't think the Bible is all about you fucking your sister
crack.
And it's a holy ass crack of
holy
man.
Look at that ass crack.
This is like turning into an Austin Powers gig. It's like, like
it's such a good movie,
dude.
But that just threw me off. I was like, yo, man, that is not a good look, man. That is not a good look.
I'm like, man, I don't know how many times I've seen guys with tattoos there. But
I'm not a huge
Christ.
fan of the cross tattoo anyways, but like in that placement, really bad. Like
it looks like it kind of looks like it's going to go into his butt. Like it's like, here it comes, going right for your butthole.
Yeah, I think so.
But dude,
that's why he was showering and walking across the room so he could show off his cross tattoo on his butt. I swear to God.
And this guy's just built as shit. Like he's a very lean dude. Like
that closet was so awesome, but it could kill someone.
Yeah, that's like the key. Like. Cube.
It was like it reminded me of someone from like Resident Evil movies.
Yeah. Resident Evil, or just any of those weird kind of or Psycho Gorman, the cube that the
dude.
The woman
they have
was
so
in.
many cool things now, like action figures. They had. I just found this store today, but they've had like one-off pieces for like the past few weeks and stuff. There's like a blow up guy of the dad, so he's a punching bag. I'm like, this stuff is fucking genius, man. The best movie.
Oh my God.
Like seriously, the best merch too. I'm so sad that I missed out on all this fun stuff. I'll give you all my money, Psycho Gorman.
Come on, Psycho Gorman. Come on. So
This is just the Psycho Gorman
super villain
podcast.
It is. We are the official Psycho. It gets brought up no matter what. The super villain though, man, it is. He's got that tattoo, but like the whole thing with him is
he's badass.
I think it's
he's ruthless as fuck.
Yeah,
that's why I brought up Saw, because he is methodical and he had this whole thing planned out and he knew it was going to take time and he was ready for it. times 10, ticking bomb style. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, he dude, extend it, like those revenge plans that are like 20 years in the making at least. You're just like, man, this motherfucker was dedicated.
But that's good writing too, because then you can unfold it like a murder mystery story, and like over time, and only show the audience what you want through a straw, and then whatever. You know, like, I love movies like that do it well. And you don't see it coming, and it's like, what the fuck? And it backhands you hard at the end, and then just like, boom, boom. Like, it's a sad. The face at the end is a perfect, because the whole audience feels that same exact way. Just the okay, fuck.
It's that thing where I think that art can be uncomfortable. Like, art can make you feel uncomfortable, and like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, a lot of people don't like being made felt like to feel uncomfortable, and it's like,
I love cinema that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, that was like what we talked about the Stylist last week. That movie at parts was just like made you feel uncomfortable as fuck.
Oh yeah,
and it's the same kind of thing.
Get up and walk around for a bit.
Yeah, it's that thing where it's like, man, feeling emotion while like, go put on like the most like 1996 action movie that like nobody's ever heard of, that isn't a bad movie but isn't like a great movie either. It's just a movie, and you're sitting there and it doesn't make you feel anything. You're not enjoying that. You're like, fuck this. You know, it's like, you're like on your phone.
Well, yes, I hate that. Like those throwaway comedies and stuff that it's like, who even wrote this though?
It's like stuff, dude, we did The Fanatic too. Like, The Fanatic is another movie that movie's terrible, but I had such a good time watching that piece of garbage movie. It's like those
feel
so bad it's good movies.
That's why it keeps getting brought up in the same vein as The Room, because I feel like Fred Durst was genuinely trying, and I see that in parts of that movie, and I see the missteps that he made as, like, you know, he's only really directed like, you know, videos for music videos and stuff. Maybe
he had done movies before,
a couple movies, but like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
If he did that on purpose to make it like The Room, that is genius.
Oh no, you can't do that on purpose. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. Because then you're making things killing at that point.
Yes.
Which is just, because like,
if you're doing these things intentionally and you think you found the formula, then someone might find that formula too. Whereas this is all accidental and misstep and like whatever. So like, anything that is good was because he had a lot of passion behind it, and you can see the passion in the film itself. And everything that's bad is because he made these some just bad decisions, man. But like, the mix of pure passion and bad decision making made The Room as well. So like, pure passion and bad decision made The Fanatic as well. And I still think like that could be cleaned up a bit and made to be a really fucking cool movie, man. Like, I still liked it too, man. Like, I don't know why it's so low. Like, I liked it.
It's because of John Travolta's act.
Yeah, it's
really
you got to take the Tropic Thunder line and just go with it. For sure.
Yeah,
and that's how we have to reference in 2021 now.
Yep. Speaking of not the Fanatic, Oldboy. Man,
Oldboy. Yeah,
it's funny how we go off.
We went down that spiral.
We went on a tangent.
Slide.
We went on a, where the fuck are we and how did we get here? So, shit. This guy, we've talked about the shitty parts of the movie, not the shitty, the uncomfortable parts of the movie, and then how somehow we've gone around the moon. So this guy is obviously he's drunk, getting arrested, and his buddy is there with him. He gets released and he disappears. His buddy there's like picking him up or whatever it is from the police station, like calls somebody on the phone, and when he's like got his back turned into him, Dae-Su disappears, and this is where he gets knocked out, put into a room, and held in this room for 15 years. This is the central then like driving point of the rest of the movie is why this man was locked up. It goes back to like we were talking about it. There's the element of this guy went to school with Woo Jin Lee, who's the bad guy in this movie, the villain. The Bond. You calling him a Bond villain was perfect, and I'm just like because the lackey and everything like that, it's perfect.
Yeah, but his look, how just like like that one part where he's just like. Okay, he gets stepped up on and just thrown into the glass. I was like, holy shit, like this guy is so powerful.
Yeah. He's very anime, but like not like not super anime, but he's like not in a bad way. It's that it's anime. We said James Bond villain, but yeah. So he locks him up in this room for 15 years and this is where he starts going completely crazy. Not completely, but he's going a little. I think that TV gave him sane, right? It's the TV and his boxing and trying to kill himself every couple years. It seemed like he tried to kill himself at least twice, right? And they kept knocking him out. And
then I love the use of jump cuts in this film are just an art in itself. Like I don't know, man. Like they. With that, like the jump cuts from the sheer horror of him like slicing his wrists again to like him writing in his diary the next day when the blood stain in the like background, it's just like it's so well done, man, to show the passage of time, but like the high moments of like what the stress of like being here for so long is doing to this person and like the mundane things to the like the things they chose to show you is it was all perfect to like paint the picture of this room and the daily routine and like
it's that like there's a lot that they fuck with this guy doing and putting him in this room by himself for 15 years.
But that's when you're sitting there like, why? Why is this happening? This is so fucked up.
Yeah. Dude, can you imagine though trying to eat pot stickers, the same pot stickers for 15 years for like it? I don't know if they only fed him once a day. They really didn't go into that, but like, can you imagine they only show him eating pot stickers, and that's what he says at some point. Like this is all he ate for 15 years. Man, that's evil. That's some diabolical shit right there. That's the most horrific element of this whole movie.
Yeah. The torture shit.
Yeah.
Like it goes man. Like it's bad, man. Like But then when they go on the hunt for the like that dumpling and he's like, nope, this isn't it. There's too much onions. And he's like going to the chefs like, oh, you got to change this.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. But you could tell how traumatized he is because, like, at one point he's eating one of these things, and then they could jump cut to him vomiting, like after eating a bunch of pot stickers. And it's that's evil, man. Your taste buds would just be dead at that point. You're like, fuck this. No.
It's like you're eating dog food at that point. It's just it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, dude,
it's takeout. They can't be bad, but you definitely aren't looking forward to it.
Dude, have you ever had pizza 3 days in a row and then gone like you were in a band? There's no way you didn't ever fucking eat pizza 3 days in a row,
dude.
Right?
At some point, when I was in high school, I used to eat a big bite combo with a Slurpee from 7-Eleven like every single day of my life. So I'm okay, man. I can do it.
Well, we could. Dae-Su obviously was having issues because if you eat a
Mighty
food,
Mango, man, that's the place like my like go-to place. Mighty Mango, so good. It's so out of the way, like so far away, but they make we like grew up with these dumplings, and they're so fucking good, man. Oh, but they're just it's so far away.
Yeah, that's a problem. We don't even have it like a good Chinese place by me. It's just a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, that's why we go so far away, because there's so many around us, but we go so far away.
You're like, these, you suck, and you just like drive by, you suck, and you suck.
You got decent ginger beef, you got some good but no, we're going all the way to get the good stuff.
Dude, so like, this guy is locked up for 15 years, and like, I think that for guys, there's a scene in this that is very, you're going, this guy had to figure out ways to jerk off to the least mundane things in the world, or the most mundane things in the world. Like, this guy starts like kneeling in front of the TV, jerking it to some like pop that was like American Idol, but like Korean Idol or something.
But
like,
it was on
like
repeat, wasn't it? It was on the same loop every day or something like that, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if that was every day.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought he had like news and shit, right? Because he knew what was happening. Yeah.
But
so I think that was just
about that one particular thing happening at like 7:00. He said, and it was too short.
He didn't get enough to come. He was like, "I'm so close." No, not the gas. Not the gas.
I don't know. Man. I had the same issue that you did with the subtitles not being completely on sync, so that was a little harder to watch.
It throws it all off. Yeah, you have to figure it out like when people are saying things and whatnot. But so this guy, I think there's like the scene that kind of stands out. There's like a couple, him boxing the bare walls. Like, this guy has like knuckles of steel at this point. But that, and him, like when he sticks his head out of the food tray on the bottom and is just like groveling and swearing and yelling, and is just like, he's just dropping every swear word he knows at this motherfucker, and he's like, and then he's like crying about it. That's the kind of the comedy slash like, it's this guy is like so desperate that he's just like anger and desperation, and like, but he's like, the switch between the two is kind of funny. So it's
what is this guy meaning? The bad guy.
I don't know. He looks like the guy from the Korean couple on Lost a little bit, if you ever watched Lost, but I don't think that was him. He's got a very, it's a bunch of Korean movies. Oh, he was in some of the other Vengeance trilogy.
Okay.
But yeah, it mostly looks like Korean films, so this I also like how he tattooed himself to memorize.
And
like,
I hadn't seen this, but I think someone else that had seen it might have like given this as like I don't know, but like this was something that I put into my short film Captive. Like she's like captured and released, and every time she's captured, he tattoos another line on her because he's just a sick motherfucker and likes the cat.
Yeah.
So I hadn't even seen this, and I had put it in my short film. So I'm pretty sure someone from the team was like, "Oh, we should do this. It's from Oldboy." Or I was like, "Let's do this," like, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. Like Oldboy."
It was like, he tattoos the years on himself with like the.
I love that scene too because it shows the like skin. It's the horror in this.
It's pretty good.
Is horrific.
It's not usual horror things. Yeah. There is a bunch. I mean, you talk about it, you like subject matter, and then like some the teeth scene is fucking hard to watch.
With the hammer, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so this guy finally gets let out, and he gets let. I don't understand. There's a couple scenes of this movie that just involve this motherfucker getting left somewhere in a trunk that you would like see someone traveling on the Titanic with. but the first one is the beginning of this movie, and they let him out. Actually, my favorite part about them letting him out is when he ends up on the roof with the dude with his dog, and the dog's trying to kill the guy.
Now I'm gonna tell you my story. Boom! Fuck you. Your story does not fucking matter, dude.
It's hysterical because this guy is so. It's not even hysterical. It's like, oh my god, this guy is fucking. The guy has no clue that who he's like trying to confide in and like try to like, you listen to me, maybe I'll be a little bit better. No, this guy, he needs to kill some motherfucker. My wife is like, oh, I remember this part, and then she goes, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And then she walked away when the guy jumped off the roof, and you hit it, and he's got that stuffed dog in his hand, and the dog just like, you could tell it's the most stuffed dog thing in the world, but it drops off the side. I'm like, oh no, honey, you missed it. He jumped off with the dog. Yeah, but
it's bad.
Yeah, it's not. Again, it's not on another American thing. Like, American movies don't capture like dive down the dog murder thing very often either, right? No. So this is where the thing gets all fucked up, and it makes more sense when you go through it like this. But for some reason, he had gotten hypnotized, and he doesn't know this at the time. I don't think they know it till he knows it till that very end when he finds Woo Jin Lee. But he goes to this very specific sushi joint, and this is another scene that's kind of not like easy to watch. And this motherfucker is one, he falls for the sushi girl. This is okay. How did they set up that he was going to this sushi joint? I wonder if they told him which like cookie he had to see. I wonder that they had to have, right? Because like, if that doesn't happen,
clothes for him and like a cell phone, they were guiding him along the way. Like the fact that this prison thing exists makes you just kind of understand that there's like a lot more people involved in this whole like game. It is essentially a game that is going on. He isn't just let go. He's let go because he's being fucked with on a whole nother level, and he's just entered the next level of this game of fucking with you. Like, man. Oh, yeah. And then once it unfolds and you start to see, it's just the spiral slide of fuckery. Yeah.
This sushi place he ends up with, and we talked about it before, but he ends up meeting this girl, and they're like all liking each other, but
I feel like she was a line in this movie used at this point, or no, not at this point, but like at the end when he says it's hard to get someone to fall in love with someone. I feel like that whole like setup and this whole setup thing with the sushi chef and everything, it rang like Inception to me, like, because he was doing the 15 years incepting this guy's mind and everything. I feel like this was like an Inception style thing.
Yeah, it's there goes to a lot of troubles to get everything to happen after the imprisoning for 15 years isn't the real torture. The torture is what happens afterwards. And you go, because this guy was in prison for 15 years, and like a year in, what was it, about a year in, he I'm pretty sure it was Woo Jin Lee did it, or hired someone to do it, killed his wife, because him killing his wife was essential to this game plan, because if the wife was around, she would like,
care for
teach the daughter about the father and all that stuff, right? So he's like, we're gonna kill the mother while this guy's locked up, and they saw it. He's watching the news and he sees it happening. And then they frame him for it, because there's a scene while he's in the prison, and they like, when they knock him out like they do every night, they drew a bunch of blood, and then he murdered this guy's wife and put his blood all over the scene so that they had like physical evidence. And did they say at some point they dropped the case against him? Like, I'm not sure if that got said on the news at some point or something like that, but yeah. So he ends up he ends up at this sushi joint. He eats a live octopus, and this really happened in the movie, and he did this multiple takes. So this motherfucker, the actor, Choi Min Sik, is literally is like putting shoves a live octopus
as he was eating it.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
And he did it multiple times, and it's another kind of horror scene, and he starts like biting like the arms or like whatever, and he bites this thing in half and eats it. I don't know, man. I've eaten enough sushi over the years, and it's good, but man, I've never been obsessed with it, and I've never been like
octopus. I've had I used to work at a sushi place. That was the first place I ever worked, was a sushi place. I was doing the dishes and stuff, and then I tried like every type of weird thing because I worked there. They're like, "Oh, you got to try this," and I was like, oh, "That was very chewy." Yeah, I'm not going to try that again.
Chewy food, man. Oh yeah, so this guy, after he eats the octopus, he's like flirting with this woman, and he gets knocked out. Or not even knocked out, he passes out. It seems like some trigger word from the or it's her hand when she touches him. That's what it was, right? Like she touches his hand, and he just like passes the fuck out so that she would bring him back to her place or whatever. Which, by the way, she brings him back to her place, and he wakes up, and she's like,
"I gotta pee.
Okay, I'm gonna go pee. I gotta pee now. And if you do anything, I'm gonna gut you like a fish." And he busts in on this woman peeing, and starts like
trying to
forcing himself on her, like kissing her when she like didn't ask him to. And there's this like, mid pee also is the weird part of this, but this whole like,
and she's not off put by it.
It's well. Then she's telling him, she's like, they're driving not long after this, and she's like, someday I'm gonna want you to bang me, and I'm gonna sing the song when I want you to bang me, and when I want you to bang me, don't you stop banging me. It's like this very like, it's very like, that's the probably the only thing in this entire movie that like I'm personally like now that I'm like, this is a little harder. I mean, it's like stuff like even this, and you're like, I wonder if this is the kind of stuff that Korean cinema still like dives into. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch enough current Korean cinema. I think the last one I watched was Parasite, but
good.
Yes, Parasite, so good. So this guy,
it's so good.
So yeah, is this at the point where he starts looking for the restaurant, right?
Yes.
Is this? Yeah. He starts looking for the restaurant that sent
montage.
A montage of him eating a lot more pot stickers. But it's it's one of the more clever things in the whole movie, because I don't know how
I like his
you or I
work.
like
he knows like, of anything. He's gonna know 100% where this fucking dumpling is made. Like
he's had the same one for and he eventually finds it and ends up tracking the delivery boy to the place where he was in prison for all that time. And this is he goes up to the floor, he ties up the camera dude and starts yanking out his fucking teeth with a hammer. Holy fuck, it's a gnarly scene, man. Yeah. He tapes him up so he can't close his mouth, and it's very like, it's like the home edition of Clockwork Orange, where they're like, of forcing his eyes open, but it's with his mouth. It's pretty ingenious how he does it. So he pulls out a bunch of this guy's teeth, and the next time you see this guy, I think this guy looks pretty good with a grill, man.
He looked the gold teeth on this guy. It's an upgrade. Actually.
Yeah,
he looks dope.
Yeah. He looks very much like a. He reminded me of like a rapper these days with the curls.
It totally like it made him look 10 times cooler.
Yeah, definitely. So
usually
this
I
is
wouldn't
where we
say
go
that.
into
like seriously, you get a couple gold teeth in there. Well, actually, I don't know, man. I think I'd look.
He's another James Bond villain. He's like Jaws.
But that's what also makes this movie so cool, because it is just like a universe that you're like, what fucking universe is this? Is this like a John Wick type universe where like there's just like this weird place that it's just okay to do fucking crazy shit to people, and it's just like no, that's a safe haven. Like we don't talk about it. It's just whatever.
It's nobody ever finds out your fucked up desires. So this is where the hallway scene happens, where he doesn't really get any information from this dude, but
just the big long one take of people getting so tired, beating the shit out of each other. Yeah. Like, I don't know, what are those? Like, those are like wooden sticks, but they're like obviously meant to break easier for actors and stuff. But they were beating the shit out of each other with these sticks. Oh yeah,
well, dude, they're sitting there, and this is the. It's like Final Fight, those old like 2D fight side-scrolling fighting games like Double Dragon and shit, but shot in real life. Like how this scene was shot, the way it was shot, it doesn't even make sense to me, because it is so cool shot, and like how they did it. Because it turns into that, like you cut the hallway in half, and you're watching half of it while this guy is.
Yeah, they got rid of a wall. And then it's just like the side.
Yeah. But he fights, 25, 30 dudes, and he is sitting there, and this this movie goes by the thing where this guy boxed a wall for 15 years while he was being held, but this guy isn't a fighter. And like,
I love that line he gets that he keeps saying, can 15 years of like not real fucking training,
that's like make me a real like
that was that thing that he says right before he does something crazy. It reminded me of like Kill Bill, the like he's saying that right before he does something fucking crazy. You're
like, oh, the shit's about to hit. Oh, the shit has hit the fan. But it's cool because it's this fight scene that is. It is, man, it's messy, right? It kind of looks like a bunch of like soccer dads got really drunk at like some convention and started kicking the shit out of each other. But it's him with his hammer fighting a bunch of dudes.
Because there's like, you see the acting in some of the people, because they're like, oh, fuck, was I supposed to hit Bob in the head? Oh, sorry, man. Oh, fuck, boom. Like, and then there's like a guy flopping around in the back. He's like, oh, crap, like. You stepped on my face, man. Like, whatever. This is one take, dude. Like,
it's, man, that scene is so. You get really long action takes. Like I still haven't seen it, but Dunkirk's shot to be made it seem like it's one like giant action scene. It's kind of like was it Birdman? Was that movie called with that, which is one continuous shot like. With sped up time at points, or it's sold as one continuous shot.
It's sold as. And like what was that, 1917 or 1918? I don't remember the year.
1917, I think. Yeah. Oh, why did I say Dunkirk? I meant 1970. Whatever. Those war movies that are. Yeah.
That is an amazing.
But if you're listening to this and you've not seen Oldboy, just go type Oldboy hallway fight scene in YouTube.
Have you seen
and
the
it
raid?
Is fantastic. Yeah, both raids.
Yeah, like there's big, like right when they land go to the first raid, there's a huge long sequence where, what is it, Tony Jaa? Is that Tony Jaa movies? The raid?
No, it's an Indonesian actor.
Tony Jaa is.
It makes me think of that. No, he's Thai. He's Thai from Thailand. He's Thai.
Right.
Yeah. Hard boiled has a really long, like a 25-minute long it really was a one-shot scene at the end of the movie. It's just a shootout scene, and the scene is insane, and that they did it in one take is fucking bonkers.
So well
but
done.
yeah,
I
so
loved
this.
it.
Yeah, this fight scene's pretty iconic. It's probably actually the most iconic scene from the movie, because I think that scene's made a lot of like very specific, like talk about Daredevil, you talk about the Raid. I think that's
like the hammer too. Just like the fact that he's just so ruthless, it doesn't matter. He's gonna get the fucking job done.
Yeah, there's a thing about pain and those with like this dude is just like gone fuck it with it. This dude doesn't care, and these other motherfuckers are like just you could tell they're a bunch of hired goons, right?
Yeah,
and that they're just doing what they're there to get paid. This motherfucker really doesn't care, and that's a big part of like you kind of go, oh, that's why this guy is just the right bit of crazy that he's gonna go after people, and he doesn't give a fuck. Someone who doesn't give a fuck and is coming at you with a hammer is actually fucking terrifying, and it's why the scene's so powerful, right? Because it's long and it's brutal and it's dope, man. It's just such a cool scene. After the scene, he gets out of the building and like passes out in the sidewalk and gets picked up by a dude who ends up being Woo Jin Lee, the main villain. He throws him in the back of a car and sends him to the girl's apartment. And she takes care of him and starts flopping her titties out a little bit at him. No, she does that later, but and is this like he this is the first time he gets when he puts him in the car and he's kind of conscious and he's like he looks at him and he figures out who he was and whatnot, or that it was mysterious that this guy was there, right? The after he's there and he wakes up at the girl's apartment, he's like,
right. And he's stabbed in the back, and he's still fighting because he's badass as hell. And now he's got the big stab wound in his back.
Yeah. Well, dude, I don't even like. That's one of those things in that scene. I still don't know if I've ever actually caught when it happens.
I did.
Like it's so. Yeah. Did you? Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, and then I was like. Because then he pretends that he's dead, and that's how he like gets the upper hand on everyone. Because he goes down and he's like, oh, and they're like, oh shit, he's dead. What? He keeps going like even harder. I'm like, oh yeah dude.
It's just like this guy is like, I'm gonna kill all you motherfuckers. I wonder how many of those dudes he killed because
but then
that's you're talking about
next after he gets rid of the people in the hallway. It's like the side scroller like Ninja Turtles. Okay, and then you go into the elevator, and that was like a comedy bit to me. Like, because then it goes ding to the next scene, and all the people fall out that he just like knocked out and stuff. That was really funny. It's
but this is you get the. I think this is when you figure out the whole green veil thing, or not green like. This is where like they kept telling was it Greenvale? Is that the word they kept saying? It was like his high school or whatever like that.
Greenview or something.
Greenview or whatever, which they were the Old Boys, which like they had
Evergreen.
Some Old Boy club, but
Evergreen.
Evergreen, Evergreen, yep. And they figure out he ends up at his old high school and looks through the yearbook and figures out who this dude is. Yeah. And this is where there's a big chunks of him figuring out who this dude is, and then after he figures it out though, from going to the school, it's figuring out why he did this, why this guy did this to him. While all this is happening, he's like, he eventually boinks the sushi girl.
And then it's like, maybe you just don't want to know.
Yeah. Fuck. You're like, what is happening? And that's where it starts getting weird because like when the guy eventually ends up at the Woo Jin Lee's place, and they both have those boxes. You're like, no, don't want to know, don't want to know, don't want to know, can't be good, and nope. Guess what? It wasn't good.
Yeah. I was good not knowing.
Yeah.
And then once I knew, I was like, oh, I'm not good anymore.
Yeah. But
he's really not good anymore.
Yeah. So you figure out, like, through his investigating and like Dae-Su owes investigating and his friend helping him. You figure out a lot. I think it gets. It's funny because Woo Jin Lee is like this like ruthless character, but he always seems like pretty like calculating and like, because you have patience. You've waited 15 years to do this, but when Dae-Su finds he goes to a store in the mall and gets his like swept for like bugs and finds out where he'd put like a GPS tracking like microphone in his foot, in his shoe.
No, in everything.
In that, yeah. Was it in everything? I thought it was just in his foot.
No, that was the like 11th thing they found, and then they uncovered.
Okay.
Like they cut to that scene as they're uncovering it in the shoe, and then they go, "Yeah, good thing we found this one. I think it might be the last one of all these other 13 that we just found."
Oh, I must have missed that this time.
I was laughing at that too. I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is again fucking ruthless." Like he's he had everything.
Well, dude, it's ruthless because then he goes in after he figures out this guy's name at the school. He's on the phone with his buddy who's been helping him, and this guy is like, he's like, "Oh, what do you know about this guy?" And he's like, "I don't remember him. I remember his sister though, and she was a big old hoe." And he's sitting there just like talking so much shit about this girl who you figure out real quick that she killed herself, but he's sitting there calling her a slut who fucked everyone. And you find out that our good friend Woo Jin Lee is like sitting in the same room with him, listening to him because he had gotten rid of all of his bugs. And all I can imagine was he took an AOL CD, cracked it fucking in half, like, cause this is in 2003, cracked it in half and just stabs this guy right in the jugular with a fucking like an AOL CD, man.
You got mail.
Shh, you got mail. And this guy died, and he gets on the phone with Dae-Su, and he's like, "Motherfucker, I'm gonna do anything." And guess what? I just stabbed your fucking friend to death because you found all my bugs. So this is your fault.
I can't hear you anymore, so now more people have to die. Fuck you.
Yeah. More people dying. Your buddy, he got involved, and I stabbed him with AOL. You've got mail. But all this like equates. It's like, so like Woo Jin Lee then goes back to the school, I think, because he still doesn't know why Woo Jin Lee did this to him, why he did it to Dae-Su, and so he goes back. Dae-Su goes back to their school, and somehow triggers like these memories, like after everything that happened, where he remembers catching Woo Jin Lee fucking his sister in high school, like, and this is like junior year in high school. Like he hauls off, and they're like, he starts like pulling his sister's panties off, and you're like, oh, this guy is completely fucking twisted.
Yeah.
Twisted. And it's this weird, like, I don't know how often you watch a consensual sex scene in a movie and it doesn't give you a little bit of a chub. This movie is like, you know what's happening, and you're like, because it's
See,
not.
I can see his face.
Not,
you can't. That was an uncomfortable sound. If you were wondering,
it was. I wasn't gargling semen, so just to let you know, it like, may have sounded.
They can't see you, but I can.
I know. And then they're just gonna think I just started gargling like, semen in the middle of the episode. Oh, blah 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 blah. So some way, somehow he found this memory and tracked it back. Oh, fuck, man. And so at this point, he's like, he had told, this guy was like, yeah, you tell me why I did this to you, and I'll kill myself, is what he told him. So this is the fucked up part. He goes and takes the girl.
This is the fucked up part?
I mean, it's getting to the fucked up part is what I'm really saying. But he takes the girl to the hostel, the hostel, the prison. I don't know what the fuck it is. That he was locked in for all those years. He takes her there and he basically forces them to like, or he gets them to. He goes like, he drops the Alien versus Predator line. The enemy of my enemy is for my friend. But he basically goes because the guy he pulled out his teeth and he was gonna get fucked with, and the Woo Jin Lee stopped him and ended up chopping Woo Jin Lee's hand off, or not Woo Jin Lee's hand. The Woo Jin Lee chopped off the hand of the guy who has gold teeth now, because he was that guy had a hard time in this movie, man. He had like a lot of shit happen.
Just that like throwaway henchman character that was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
He did not have a good time because, yeah, he got hand cut off, teeth pulled out with a hammer. That scene is still every time I see it, because they just showed the mouth and
it is done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He leaves her there when he goes to confront Woo Jin Lee. Dae-Su goes there, and he basically goes over the whole story with him, and he's like, he tells him that basically she thought she was pregnant somehow, which means they were obviously fucking. And I just kind of implied from the tone of it and how crazy this motherfucker was that his sister actually was pregnant. Like he had actually gotten his sister pregnant. But I don't know. You can't tell because it
talks about it. It's like very existential and like, this guy's crazy as fuck. Essentially.
Yeah. Well,
he's like,
they don't
just because she believed it so much, all of a sudden she was
pregnant.
No. Then she stopped having a period and started gaining a bump just because she thought it so much, because everyone said, and no, man, she was, and you're crazy. It's because you put it there and
you fucked your sister. You fucked your sister.
Don't do that. You just don't do that.
You were Jamie Lannister. You were Jamie Lannister, and she was Cersei Lannister.
Hey, you don't do that.
No, and it's not. It's still even not even the worst.
Like seriously, don't do that
in this birthday.
Just
don't do that. Bad. And so that's why his sister killed herself. She jumped off this thing and like at the dam that they'd gone to, and the Woo Jin Lee tried to save her but couldn't. And she's like, "Nah, I'm good. Fuck this. I'm dead." And she goes, "The fucked up part is," she goes, "I don't regret anything," doesn't she? And I'm like, "But you're killing yourself. How don't you regret anything?" It's
like getting a tattoo that says "No regrets."
No regrets.
No regrets. It's like, well, fucking spell it right. Come on, you dipshit.
Yeah. You moron. Every time spelling error tattoos are some of the funniest, most like painful things ever. But yeah, so once he figured that, like, he explains, Dae-Su explains everything he found out to Woo Jin Lee. This is when you find out the really fucked up part about all this. Woo Jin Lee gives Dae-Su a purple box, and when he opens it up, there's a photo album, and it shows Dae-Su and his wife who got murdered and their daughter, and then they show her turning Dae-Su's daughter aging up into Mi-Do, I think is her name, the sushi girl that Dae-Su had been fucking earlier. And you go, oh, so he was fucking his daughter. And He's just the cringiest shit ever. But it's done artfully, and
it's how it's done,
and
it's keeping you on the edge of your seat the entire time. You don't know until he knows, and that's just how fucking well this movie is crafted, and like the way it unfolds, and those visuals, the artistic things like the clock, and that type of stuff just peppered on top. It almost seems like effortlessly too. Like it's just like, oh yeah, we can just do this, and it adds so fucking much to this movie, and this whole movie just feels effortless, and there's so much, like you said, in 2 hours that it is covering and going on, and I think that's why we all love this movie so much, because you know so much about these characters. It's 15 years, dude, but it's a fucked up 15 years, but it's also like compelling. I don't know, like I don't know about compelling being a right word to use there, but the movie is amazing.
This is one of those twist endings, or it's not even a twist though. It's like it's just a reveal, because it would have been the mystery the whole time. But so, and you figure out that then Dae-Su is like trying to kill Woo Jin Lee, but then Woo Jin Lee kind of like sinks his henchman on him, who almost kills Dae-Su, and this is how fucked up Woo Jin Lee is. He goes off and caps his own fucking bodyguard in, because he's like, he won't let go of Dae-Su, and that's what's fucked up. Woo Jin Lee has never wanted Dae-Su to die.
Yeah.
Did you just fart, you motherfucker?
So loud, dude. It was the loudest part of my life.
Stanky bitch. You stanky bitch.
I hope. Oh man. I hope you can hear it on the podcast.
I'm gonna find it at 1 hour 11 minutes, so and God damn, man. Oh my god.
And that concludes another episode of Murder.
No, we're finishing the end of this. No. So they explain how all the hypnotists, like, hypnotizing worked, and how everything how Woo Jin Lee has like the best monologue ever after explaining everything, because he's like, yeah, I didn't explain shit to you until this was all fucked up and you were done, man, because this is why.
But that's what makes this movie like the masterpiece level. Yeah. Because if you do see through it, then you've probably watched the movie before, and fuck you didn't see through it, because this movie is a masterpiece. I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either. So then the phone rings, and Woo Jin Lee is basically having his henchman with no hand and the fucked up teeth give me do the box, the same box that Dae-Su got.
What's in the box?
And so this is and he knows what's in the box, and this is where like he's like yelling, no, don't open it, blah blah blah. And this is where this is the guy who's already lost it, completely loses it, because he's realized what's happening, and he doesn't want his daughter to figure out what happened.
I love how you just slash. Oh.
Yeah. And he gets on his knees and begs, basically, and then chops his own tongue off with a pair of scissors, which is also.
But the way they film that, it's so elegant. It's so effective. Yeah. They don't show anything, but they show everything, and all the emotion just by showing a close-up of the backhand of the scissors doing the motion of closing, and then the action of like so effective, so old school, all in camera, all acted so well. I love when movies choose to do it like that, and then cut to reveal. Like.
You don't need to show. I mean, I love gore. Don't get me wrong, but like you don't need to show gore to. And I keep saying this, but my mind is way more fucked up than anything you're gonna show me with a fucking tongue being cut off or whatever.
You set it up and let the audience do the rest, and it's effective every time.
Yeah, because Well, and let's be honest, how often does chopping off a tongue, especially with a character that's not going to die, work very well, like when you see it? Because it's not an easy thing to fake, right? Because you can't like put a fake tongue in or whatever without it being a fake head and whatever. So it ends up being way more powerful like this. He chops his tongue off, and this makes Woo Jin Lee so happy. Like he looks like the little kid in Christmas Story. He got his Red Ryder BB gun. Like this is like how happy this motherfucker is that his evil diabolical plan went exactly how he wanted it to.
He's so happy that he offset. Well, I don't understand that. Like he had this whole thing. He's like, yeah, I gave myself an off button, and then he doesn't work, or he doesn't. Like, what is that?
No, that was the joke. He had a pacemaker installed, and he said he paid the doctor $100,000 to like basically install a kill switch in it. And when at the end there, when he's walking away towards the elevator, Dae-Su finds it and hits the button. And instead of killing this guy is so fucked up, he makes it start playing the audio of Dae-Su fucking his daughter. And it's like, because this guy's like,
that's what the button did. Oh my God. Yep. That is such another level. I just thought it turned on. Fuck, he made... No. God damn it. That's like fucking hell, dude. Like, just the cherry on top of just pure. I didn't know that. Fuck.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's pure evil. Because it's just like he now doesn't have a tongue and was almost puking now because he had to listen to it. He's like, nah! Like, oh.
Yeah, and it's funny because that happens. The elevator goes down and he blows his brains out, which is a violent, because it's this weird cut where you hear the they cut. You hear the gunshot and then you cut to like right after the bullets gone through, and like he fucking like Mission Impossible 3's into the wall, like, you know, he shoots himself and his body flies sideways because there's so it's cool shot. And this is like, then the movie like goes to like 6 months after this, and Dae-Su has found tracked down the hypnotist and basically convinces her to hypnotize him to get rid of all these memories. He doesn't want to remember. Like she basically gets his mind to split, and the part that knows about what happened, about who Mi-do is, they split, and that one dies. Like she says, every step will be a year for him, and he dies being an old man or whatever. And this is it, but you've talked about it a couple times. There's this weird, beautiful, like slightly insane smile that, like, because Mi-do shows up and like finds him and like finds the footprints and whatever thing when this guy's here by himself now. And she's like, he's like hugging her, and you get that smile of this guy who's like lost it but isn't lost it, and
he's like content in unhappiness.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't know anymore, because the hypnotist got rid of it, but like it's that how much does some part of him know somewhere,
I don't
kind
know,
of thing. It's that
it was the picture, the painting in his. He is now that painting. Yeah. It is a full transformation. I think there was like a line at the beginning of the movie actually that like says something about that painting and the transfer. I don't know, like, but it is essentially they made him into that character in the painting.
Yeah, it's I had a short-lived movie podcast with a buddy of mine who I had met through Hearthstone, and we talked about this movie because, again, I love sharing this movie. This part of that movie, like the movie when the end snow scene, because that's where the whole like the hypnotist in him is like this snowy field. That whole part threw him off, and I never quite understood why. Because I think there was the line really points out how he gets the hypnotist to actually do this for him. Is he writes her a letter, but the last line of this is even if I'm an animal, or like, I deserve a chance to live? Isn't that what he's? What was the line? Yeah, like, and this guy is basically just is going, I just deserve to be happy after everything that's happened to me. I've fucked up. I'm not perfect, but don't I deserve a chance? And him basically asking for a chance from this lady gave enough that she did this for him. And you go, this guy was already fucked up for being isolated for 15 years. I think there's that smile that maybe because he forgot, maybe he now thinks that there's a chance he could be happy. But with that twinge of like how good the smile is, like, is there a part of the back of his brain that knows, like, yeah, it's not all gone. He knows, and just he'll hopefully hold it down, that part of his brain that does know, you know. I don't know.
Again, an ending that it is kind of, I don't know, man. Like, it's not a happy ending by any stretch of the imagination, and that's why movies like this stand the test of time better than the Hollywood ending and the happy ending movies, because those come in dozens a week, or a day rather. They just, that's what we're used to over here. So I'm really happy that I'm doing this show and finally getting to see all these Korean movies that they've been like, I'm a huge movie buff and horror fan, and like, it doesn't matter where it is, if there's subtitles or not. Most of my favorite movies, to be honest, are foreign movies. Like, my list, I tend to, like, I don't know, like, I forgive bad acting in foreign movies because I'm reading more and the acting isn't as transparent, I guess, as well. So like, everyone seems like a way better actor because I don't know the language too, right? So like, those little nuances that I would pick up in an English movie and really over critique in a performance, I can't do in a foreign film. So I think that's why I like foreign films so much more, and I look at it more of like the art piece and like the decisions made like artistically with the in camera, or like I said, like this stuff this chose to do artistically.
We've talked about it. There are moments in with all these South Korean movies we've watched, like, where you go, like, behavior is like a little bit weirder than you or I would expect, like, in an American movie, and you go, how much of this is just, one, you don't understand the language, two, it's the cultural thing, how much this is acceptable to act like this is, or this is expected that you act like this in this kind of situation. And so those two things combined can hide those moments, and it makes your brain go, okay, this is fine. Like, I think it's just not even, I think you saying not overanalyzing, you're right, because you're involved and your brain's doing 7 different things instead of just listening to the acting, right? Because you're reading, you're analyzing.
Well, I'm
because
always overanalyzing films anyways. Like, you know, how's the lighting in this? Like, we were watching foreign films, but I was like, why did they use a bounce in that one movie when they're down by the river? I was like, it was so distractingly overly lit, and that scene did not need to be lit. It was outdoors in blinding sunlight. Like, there didn't need to be more light added to the scene for any reason whatsoever. But that's like an indie type mistake to make, whereas this is not an indie film. This is like, how many awards has this film won and stuff? So you can't really see any of those. The glue that I always bring up, you didn't see the glue in this film because it just, I don't know, it's just a masterpiece. Well, actually, the first time that I keep referencing the clock, and because I love motion graphics and the addition to a story, and to me it adds so much visually as well, and that's the type of stuff that I overly appreciate in movies like this. But the first time it's introduced, and it was like seamlessly on the wall as like that 3D transition and stuff, I was like, it like bent my head a little bit. I was like, whoa, that was so well done. And then it came back a few more times, not done as well as the first time, but like still I overly appreciate it, and I'm bringing it up so many times because like you don't see that level of attention in movies a lot to tell like that's just a transition to tell you that it's gone to another day, but it's done in a really fucking awesome way, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, well, I was saying before, the first time we tried to record, the music in this movie, the sound, the score of this movie is amazing. It's so beautiful. Like it, and I would say that most of these Korean movies we've done, like, are the soundtracks ends up. Yeah, the scores are just perfect. They're like, they use violin like it's so like he's just narrating this as it's happening, and it's like perfect.
And just like big scores for movies, and especially like movies that you don't think deserve scores, all of a sudden have a score. It makes that movie. It like, how much is it to get a score made? I have no clue, but it just like, to me, any movie in an indie level or any level has a score that just could be this good. It automatically makes the movie 10 times better in my eyes or my ears.
It's so I feel like it's so rare for me watching American cinema just to like have that leave a mark on me. That's like I could be into the score of most things.
The last one, but that's a thing. Yeah. The director was like, no, this person, I need this person. And when you go out of your way and make a genre bending move, it's like, no, you are only making movie for 8-bit video games, and I love that. Do what you do, but do it for my movie. But because he employed, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, gave him the space to do whatever the hell he wanted, the time and attention was spent, and something amazing was made, right?
Yeah, it's the score of this. I think that this movie probably has like the best score, if not like one of the best, like 2 or 3 scores in all the movies we've done, and it's not even close. Like I don't even actually. I don't think it's. I think the other South Korean stuff is probably the only other comparable things, like the Wailing, and
I was just going to bring up the Wailing was amazing too.
Yeah, and it's that same. They just, I bet there's a part of it that it's just us embracing this music that's a little bit different, right?
I don't think it was
what we're used to.
I don't know. Like I'm not overly well versed, but I think I'm definitely way more well versed in Korean movies now that I've watched so many for this show. Right? So
I meant more like just the music is like a little bit foreign because of the different styles, right? Like it's I don't know. I love the music. That's all it really comes down to. And it's, what's impressive too is really there aren't many actors in this movie either, like that. It's really, really carried by the 2 main characters and the
movies
the daughter.
That do that well, I appreciate more. Like, because then, but that's why I love this movie more, because I feel like every character is like really fleshed out. Like the whole 15 years thing, the writer, I feel like, really dove into each and every single one of these characters, like with the same amount of attention as that like 15-year like, okay, nothing can, so there's no holes, there's no
So I'm just looking while we were talking about it. So the American version of Oldboy came out in 2013 and has a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. The original is 82%. I'm gonna end up watching this clusterfuck original at some point just to become angry, but
Spike Lee did it too.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Also, I watched the trailer after I finished up the other night. I'm pretty sure they took the guy being locked up from 15 to 20 years in the American version, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
So Josh, I mean, I'm glad you love this movie, man, because it literally is one of my favorite movies ever. Like it's not easy to digest, but man, it's so beautiful and so well done and so just like it's again we talk about it.
Olsen, so Thanos,
yeah.
Oh,
and Scarlet Witch, man, fucking, I assume. Also, Scarlet Witch fucked Quicksilver, her own brother, and Godzilla. So I mean, here we are, where
sense.
Elizabeth Olsen has a bunch of weird roles with other Marvel actors and some other things. Oh man, it was funny because I was watching that Godzilla movie and my wife was like, "Is that Scarlet Witch?" And she's making out with Quicksilver. And my wife loves the Marvel movies, so yeah, man. I'm glad. I really do. This movie is I'm curious. What does actual IMDb classify this movie as? Does it say?
It's like mystery, drama, action or something.
And action. Action. I guess because the hallway scene, but this isn't really an action movie.
But like I said, man, like I feel like that scene is like, it's been like jacked by so many action movies that like. It has to be considered action.
Yeah. So watch the 2003 Korean version, please. I before my next episode, I'm gonna try to watch the other one. I don't know why, but I'm gonna try.
I'm not gonna watch it by the next episode, but I'm gonna put it on the list just because I've seen the original now, and I need to make these comparisons. Like I saw Let the Right One In theaters, fell in love with it, watched it over and over and over on DVD, and then I had to see Let Me In, and I was Let Me In isn't a terrible movie, but if you're like a super fan of the original, it just got so many things wrong. Like the decisions that were made, and like that's why I'm a super huge fan of Nightmare on Elm Street. That's why when you go into the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, they got everything fucking wrong. Like anyone that says that is a good movie, shut the fuck up. It is not a good movie. It is terrible. It is blasphemy. Yeah. Like so, like I think you and I are on the exact same page. We just need to know now. We need to know just for the knowledge because we have a show talking about movies and we need that knowledge in our lives.
Yeah. Dude, they just, all those movies they all feel heartless and they feel like you take a Van Gogh painting and put them on
it's a McDonald's
photocopy machine.
Like, it's just like packaging it for American audiences. It's just,
the guy who did Let Me In was like Matt Reeves, who had done Kick-Ass or whatever, or what he had done. He had like done something big. Like he wasn't a rookie director, and he did like it wasn't bad, but like it's like The Shining. You know why The Shining is good? Because Stanley Kubrick made it his own. Yeah. It isn't like Stephen King. When you put your heart and soul into something,
dude, like he killed. Like
he did Kick-Ass, right?
No. He did Dawn the Planet of the Apes. He's doing the new Batman movie, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so. I always forget. He's one of those directors I get confused with 7 different directors.
Director. Those Planet movies shouldn't. Actually, like, I think they're very underrated. The Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes and stuff. Like, I think he fucking knocked it out of the park with those movies.
Yeah.
Even though they made a lot of money, I don't feel like enough people talked about those movies. They were. I only ever saw and like the CGI that was done in those movies was fucking amazing. So I don't know. We could go off on.
I only saw the first
tangents.
One, and I liked it. Yeah. Okay. Well, Josh, we made it through 25 episodes. I mean, it's not like a million, but it's good, man, and I'm glad we do this. And I like it's like just hanging out with you and then recording it. That's all it really is.
That's what I do, man. That's how I've had shows in the past. If it's done any other way, like I've had like segments style stuff, but like every segment we have to hit some points, but like it's all just talking or whatever. And like if it's done any other way,
that's all I've ever done.
I don't know, man. I even tried, like, you know, I've been doing my own thing on YouTube for a long time and stuff. And, like, I tried the, like, notes or scripting it, and it never comes across as genuine to me, and I fucking hate that.
Yep.
Like when I direct people, even if I have a script or something like that, I like to give the person talking the ability to use their own voice and stuff, and like it just gets such more genuine, just genuine, man. Like, so if this show isn't genuine, I don't know what it would be. Like, even, I don't know, man, I struggled with the stylist episode because like I want to be genuine, and I don't want to like shit on movies either, especially with movies with people I admire and look up to, and like I just appreciate them as a human being and stuff. It's hard for me, so I want to stay genuine and fucking just keep going and kick the ass of the internet, because this is fucking Murder Moose.
Yes.
And fuck everyone.
It is. We're gonna murder everyone. Moose murder.
You want to fucking die? Get in front of this moose.
Okay, Josh, you have a whole list. So what are we watching next week? You have like 200 items on there, so pick something.
What was it? Oh, I got Lucky. I got.
What do you want to? I mean, you just put. We have a Discord message back and forth, right? Because this is how we do back and forth between the week. And Josh,
I went
put like 12 movies.
But I didn't know there were so many awesome indie flicks that got made last year. I thought I knew the list, and I didn't.
Okay, Josh will go through and he'll pick something, and we'll tweet it out from the account.
You think I've thought about something?
Yeah, exactly. No way. So, Josh, thank you so much for being awesome. Thank you for doing 25 episodes, and we'll do 25 more, man. So
fucking right.
I love you, face. Okay, buddy. Well, tell everybody you're Josh WRB everywhere. I'm Rod_Johnson everywhere, most places actually. But you look for me, I'm usually there. And
murdermoose.com.
We're murdermoose.com.
It has links to our YouTube channel on there. Because it's hard, like until you have how many 100 people, you can't.
100.
That sucks. I didn't know that. I've had a URL on YouTube for so long that it's something that you don't think about, right?
Yep. So you Google that. All the episodes are up with just audio, up to that episode 24. So.
Oh wait, no! I've been putting them out on. True. Let's do Come True.
Come True. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was the one.
Come True. It is.
It just came out this year.
Okay.
I just saw. I just heard about it, and I figured out that it was made in Edmonton, which is like 2 seconds. Well, it's the next city up from me. Yeah. Calgary, Edmonton.
Cool.
So
Come True.
I'm stoked.
So there's your homework if you care.
It looks like a fucked up, weird, dark movie, and all the things I love about horror. Dark and weird and twisted. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go, buddy.
And indie.
Let's go. Okay, everybody. Indie, Canada. Josh. Okay,
Let's
everybody.
Go.
We'll see you next week for Come True. Love you all. Bye.